really it's too complex for them to figure it out on their own. You need to help them strategize it so they don't have debt forever.
Right.
But having a portfolio they can show an admissions counselor, it might help them get into a more competitive program. But here's the deal. You want your kids to look competitive for scholarship money. And
Yes.
having something like this, that is a portfolio that's professionally done, that's edited by a professional like Beth Purcell, is going to be the kind of student colleges and universities are going to go, oh my gosh, there's some money person. We need to give them money right there.
Right.
So I think this is going to be a really helpful class, really practical and hands-on. How did you get into writing, Beth? How did your love of writing develop? This is a
So I am an English, I majored in English and specifically Southern Lit. And all my life, I just enjoyed the power of words. I was one of those kids that lined up the stuffed animals on my bed and read out loud to them and taught them. You know, I was a teacher when I was listening to my stuffed animals. I just have always loved reading and writing. Writing is such a way of expressing myself. And we are a direct reflection of the words that we write. I mean, it's how we communicate. And it's a communication tool that's unique to the human species. Right. And so I just love picking apart words, picking apart text, reading between the lines, really digging into motivation behind words and wordsmithing, how words are put together. The syntax of, I mean, really, when I said I was a grammar geek, I was being serious because the syntax of how we put words together is just kind of interesting to me. I just really love alliteration and I love all of those rhetorical devices that we use. And there's just so much power in the pen.
Yeah.
And so I just, it was kind of a given that when I went to college, I was going to pursue English and teaching as a secondary. I mean, I didn't get a degree in education. I got a degree in English and then locked it in with education. And then, as far as the virtual component to this, I think the power of online learning is unbelievable. I have 2 children that are opposite ends of the spectrum. I have an exceptional learner with my daughter, and then I had a gifted, what South Carolina calls a gifted and talented learner in my son. And so I needed something that really addressed both learning situations. And we found virtual learning in 2008 when it was first a thing in South Carolina. And the power of online learning is just amazing. And so I think True North is really breaking ground with what we're doing by offering these opportunities to parents that really want a Christian-based, faith-based education for their children. They want to keep them home and safe and want to share their culture with their children and really want to understand all that their children are participating in. I love what we do. And so English and being able to teach online, there's no better world for me.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned Southern Lit. And of course I thought of Mark Twain. Who else? How big is the Southern Lit body of work?
It's quite large. It's quite large. There were a lot of Southern writers that are not as well known, a little bit more obscure. Of course, you think of Mark Mitchell, right? More the Wind. Big
My
piece.
kids feel like I told them they had to read the book or watch the movie. The movie's 4 hours long, and they're like, my boys were throwing themselves on the floor, going, "Make it stop!" But I'm like, okay, then you got to read the book, and they're like, "Okay, we'll suffer."
Well, it's such a classic piece, and yes, there's a lot of controversy around it, but it is such a classic tale. But an example, and how Southern Lit is a little different. So the characters of Gone with the Wind are Irish immigrants, and they love the land. The land is very important to them, and it's its roots, right? And that's a lot of how Southern families live. They're rooted in the land that their family has owned. There was a family estate that lasted for many, many, many decades. My great grandfather was a farmer in Georgia and had workers, and that's a stayed in the family for a long, long time. There are 12 children, part of that, and when it was time, the farm came up for sale, and one child my grandmother was able to buy that land and kept it in the family. So just deep roots, and just a lot of connection with Southern Lit and some of the other themes that we know today. So just an interesting genre for me.
Yeah, I think it's so important to read history and to understand it in context. If you look at it anachronistically, of course, we can judge everybody till the
Right.
cows come home. If we look at
Right.
it from where we sit as postmodern people
Yes.
in an electronic age, but taking it in context just it brings so much knowledge and wisdom to our kids if we can really try to get in a different headspace. Super
Well,
important.
history, I mean, is reflected in our
Yeah,
literature, in our writing, and you can peg that across the board. It doesn't matter if it's ancient Greece or
right.
if it's today. Our culture and our society and a writer's experiences are all packed into every literature piece that they write, every work that is produced. And I love making those connections in
Yeah,
history. I mean, history is history, and it's wonderful to see it reflected in literature. So
right.
that's
I
just is
just
there.
helping your kids read and understand how to read. Help them
Yeah,
if you help them understand how to write, you're helping them understand how to read, and
absolutely.
you're ushering them into the great conversation of civilization, and that is super important. That's one of the things we're really losing with everybody online is not entering into a conversation. It's very passive. It's consumer based. It's not interactive like a conversation would be, and we need more young adults who are willing to step into a conversation
Mhm.
as leaders in this world. So literature is a great way to train them in that, develop their critical thinking skills, and of course, writing skills, because the pen is so mighty. I
Yes.
mean, like nations have been formed
Yes.
with writing.
Yes.
Yeah, super exciting. So I
And
just,
if we were moving from if we're moving from the pen to our computers and our texts, still very powerful.
well, yeah,
Words are words.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Words
Um,
are tight.
you are a big boating family. Tell us, so we've done like I grew up where we would go to my grandparents' lake cottage, and it wasn't. I mean, it sounds really kind of like hoity-toity. It wasn't at all. But my uncle, his where he lived was right next to my grandpa's little cottage, and we would go out on their pontoon all the time. So the last couple of years, we've gone pontooning a few times, and it is the best day ever. Like you just go out there and you tool around the lake and get splashed and eat snacks. It's just so fun and chat a
Absolutely.
little bit and just enjoy the water. What's your favorite water thing? I know I saw your dog diving off the diving board, which every time I think of it and look at it, I just crack up.
Well, we are very fortunate to have a family home on Lake Kiowee, which is a man-made lake here in the upstate of South Carolina. It is actually it was designed, built, and still maintained by Duke Power. So we've got a hydraulic energy system here on the lake, but we love to spend time at the dock. That's where the dog jumped off the diving board. English bulldogs are typically not great swimmers, but ours love the water. They love going boating. So we do have a wakeboard boat where my son is a big wakeboarder, wake surfer. My husband does that. I did it before I was had a knee injury, so now I'm more of a passenger. But we love boating, and we have pontoon also, and that's a lot of fun. Just cruising,
Yeah,
taking a gentle ride around. Sometimes in the afternoon, the lake gets pretty crazy, but we just love doing all the boarding and riding and jet
fun.
skiing. That's another thing that the dogs love to do. We take our jet ski out. We have a big what's called a water lily or a water pad, and it floats, and it's really large. It's as large as our dock, and it just floats on the water, and it's a foam piece, and the dogs love being out on there, and it's just fun hanging out. It's really a great connection piece for our family. Both of my children are grown. I said that they're home. They are. My son is doing post-bac work online with Oregon State, so he's home saving money while he pays for his his secondary degree. And my daughter, she's our exceptional child. She'll probably always be with us, and that's great. She is a preschool teacher. So she works with toddlers and infants during the day, and then lives here with us in the evening. And it's just been a great source. Being at the lake is a great source of connection for our family. We just love, it's something we love doing together. Interesting quick fact about Lake Kiowee. It was the Cherokee. The Cherokee settled on Kiowee River. It was the river that initially the Cherokee Nation settled along and spent time there. And of course, it was settled there. Cities built up around that river. And then later, when Duke Power bought it, they actually they bought all that land, dug up the artifacts, moved the artifacts that were there, excavated all of that, and then flooded the city. So if you go deep enough in Lake Kiowee, which is about 500 feet at the lowest point, and if you go low enough, you can actually see a city down there.
Wow.
Basketball courts, for more modern cities, basketball courts. It's pretty crazy. So
that is crazy. You will not catch me doing that ever.
Right.
Ever. But I mean, it's nice to think about.
Yes. Fun. It's fun to think about. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I'm super excited you're going to be teaching for True North. And I love the fact that you've taken these classes on and have such enthusiasm for them and I want to talk about grammar for just a minute, because it's one of those subjects that people are like, you don't really need to know grammar, but I taught Latin for a few years. And when you learn a second language, you have to learn the grammar of your own language in order to really be able to understand a foreign language. And honestly, if you learn English grammar so well, you're going to be a much better writer. You're going to be a clearer thinker, because grammar is structure. And again, it just teaches critical thinking.
Right.
And it teaches logic skills. We all know people who they really struggle with speaking well or writing well. And it's because they don't have a clear map in their brain for logical sequencing. So it's just such a really basic foundational skill set to understand how to write, think well, be logical, all those kind of things. So I know you're probably in that camp too, far more than I am. Sonia Hemmings is too. She's a professional editor. So is Artie Fisher. And so we have a couple professional editors on staff. And honestly, your kids could actually make a living as an editor too.
Absolutely, especially during college. College students are wanting help with papers. And if you have solid grammar skills and great editing skills, which also comes with grammar and writing practice. And here's an important note, Lisa, I think you'll agree with me. Writing is a skill that you have to practice and cultivate, much like learning a musical instrument.
Yes.
Or honing an athletic ability. You just don't go out and become a star soccer player. You practice. And that's exactly the way writing is. And you have to practice it. And it may not be the most fun thing. I don't think I enjoyed playing scales and doing all of the techniques that I learned with piano. But it can be a wonderful, rewarding skill that you cultivate over time. And grammar is just the very basics of that. And grammar and good writing translates into good and effective speaking. It's all interconnected. It just all is interrelated.
Yeah, it is.
And the grammar classes that I'm teaching are, I think they're just going to be really a great way, a great approach. The curriculum that we're using is wonderful, Grammar Galaxy. So there's fun and gaming involved. So it's not just your boring, let's diagram 10 sentences and talk about our parts of speech. We do talk about parts of speech because that's so important, but we do it in a very fun way.
Right. I do want to address that because just gamification really quickly, but also we used for my older daughter, when you're first figuring it out, and years ago, there wasn't the plethora of curriculum that there is now, but we used a really popular program that was very simple, but at the end of the year, she didn't really know anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but really she didn't, there was no memory work. There was no feedback loop for what she learned, that she actually knew the parts of speech and she knew how to put it together in a really clear and concise way. And so I just want families to really think about that there really is some bad curriculum out there, or some ineffective curriculum. Now,
Mhm.
maybe that works really well for some students. It didn't work well for us. And so that's why I don't want to ever mention a curriculum's name, because I know curriculum writers usually work really hard. But
Mhm.
we really work hard to find curriculum that we use at True North that really gives you the most bang for your buck. And honestly, having a teacher, if it's not a subject matter or you don't have the time or the bandwidth to teach it, having a teacher that loves it, that's passionate about it, can make all the difference for your kid. I mean,
Yeah.
literally all the difference for your kid. And we see this all the time at True North, where somebody says, we hear this with Dr. Min's classes. My kids hated science. Then we took your biology. Now they're considering it a science field. Or if Sonia Hemmings is the same way. My kid really didn't like to write. And then they took research paper. Who knew,
Right.
over the summer. And now they're really thinking like, maybe they want to take some more writing classes. And so I think it's really something to consider, having an expert teacher
Yeah.
in your homeschool. That's one of the beautiful things about online education. You get to have somebody like Beth Purcell, who's a certified IEW instructor, who is passionate about grammar and English and stories and all the things, actually participate with you in your homeschool.
Right.
It's really such an effective way to use your homeschool dollars and your homeschool time.
Yes.
So we've outsourced for years. Really, we started doing online education in 2010. We had a house fire,
Mm.
and we lost about 90% of what we owned. We had 4 of our kids still at home. Our oldest daughter was in college, but somebody gifted us some online classes that next year. And we had moved back into our home after 10 months of being out of it. We didn't really own a lot, but somebody said, "Hey, we've got these 3 classes. Do you want to take them?" And we said, "Yeah." And wow, they were so fun. One of them in particular, it was a gal who'd written Senate briefs, and she was doing a law class. No, it was a copywriting class
Mm.
or something like that. And my son took one of my older sons took it. And the rest of us just sat around and listened to the class. It was so fun and engaging. We just
Yeah.
all loved it. I mean, and we weren't like in view or anything. And the tech was a little bit more clunky back then, but now now the tech is so cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned before we got started about topic boards. And I wanted to share with everybody, our learning management system is cutting edge. So your kids, you get a parent dashboard, a student dashboard. We send out a monthly newsletter to our families. But also there's bulletin boards and topic boards that the teachers, I know Beth is going to really utilize her. She's been talking about how she's just thinking about them, and a topic board per week, some of our teachers are doing. And that is a whole other resource for your kids. So they have the curriculum, they have the live online component, and then we have the topic boards, which is like extension activities and
Yeah.
games and all sorts of fun, cool stuff, links and things like that.
Yeah.
So we really try to say we use time-tested educational pedagogy, like Beth was talking about. We're using the classics and basic educational tools like how to write.
Yeah.
Cutting edge tech, and it's a winning combo. Plus, you
Yeah.
have world-class experts like Beth on your team. So, if you're considering any of our classes, now's the time to enroll. And super excited to have you on the team, Beth. You're just a joy. Every time I talk to you, I'm just like, oh my gosh, let's go on a pontoon ride. That'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
I feel you.
yeah. So, you guys, if you have any questions about the classes, just send us a DM or leave a comment. You can go to truenorthhomeschool.academy. There's a chat there. And if you want to talk to Beth in particular or me, you can just say, hey, I saw the live, or I just have questions about copywriting or any other classes. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have struggles with writing, we'd like to know what they are, because we really want to address your needs as homeschool families. Again, we have world-class experts who are just waiting to share what they know. Because if you're a teacher, that is the biggest rush in the world, is to connect and empower people to go to the next level. So Beth, thanks for talking to me. It's always a joy, and you're so fun and upbeat and happy. I know the kids in your classes last year absolutely loved them. That's one of the reasons we started Narnia 2 this year. I don't want to forget to say this. Narnia 1 it goes over the first 3 books of the Narnia series.
Yes.
And it's an IEW based program.
Yes.
Narnia 2 goes over the last 3 books in the series.
Four.
The last 4, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And does it do all 9 of the IEW units in Narnia
Yes.
too? I thought
Yes.
it did. Okay.
Yes, it absolutely does. And it's important to note that the source text and our writing is based on those books. And there is supplemental reading that can be done, but it is not a requirement that your child read through all of these chapter books.
Yeah.
So it is something that we base our writing off of, and we do refer to it. And it's there. It's a supplemental piece.
Yeah.
But I am so excited about this class. I think it'll be great. And yes, it's the latter part of the Narnia series.
Yeah. And the Narnia classes have been super popular. They are really fun. There's so many cool supplemental activities, and the discussions are just phenomenal. So if you want your kiddo to have a really fun writing class, and I would say this is a good class for kids 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Honestly, we have 9th graders in these classes. And if you don't feel like you have a strong writer, the Narnia classes are perfect for a 9th grade kiddo, and it can count for a full credit of composition. But if you have questions about transcripts, again, we'd love to hear from you. We've done hundreds, maybe thousands of them at this point. We get kids where they need to go next. We're not cheating. We're just helping you maximize your time and intention. So, okay, Beth, thanks so much. I could keep talking, but I know everybody has to keep going on to the next thing. So
Lisa, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for allowing me to be part of the True North family. And I'm so excited for the fall.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, me too. We're starting August 28th. So go look at classes, truenorthhomeschool.academy. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.